What is up, guys? Clay Enjoyer here, and it is time to enjoy. In this video, I remade one of my old creations into an even better, more awesome sculpture. I am going to turn this sad donut with a gun into a massive donut Spartan, complete with a badass shield, helmet, and spear. Now my sculpting skill is only barely borderline nightmare fuel. I can build up the body of the donut Spartan, starting with a ring of armature wire that is bulked up with a metric ton of aluminum foil that can be slapped on haphazardly until I get a beefy armature. But beefy is for cows, so I guess it's a doughy armature, I guess. I kind of went off the rails very fast with this idea. With that bit of nomenclature out of the way, I can start to squeeze clay through the pasta machine to flatten the clay into thin sheets ready to use. Then I can use the clay to cover the ugly aluminum body underneath. I can continue to add and add clay until the body is a shape I'm happy with. It looks messy right now, but I can blend the Spartan in to make it nice and smooth. Then I can do the same thing for the legs to make sure they're extra bulky to support the donut Spartan's massive upper body. Even though there are obviously still plenty of imperfections, I think they are great. Not because I'm lazy or anything, but because the bumps and nicks add a lot of surface damage and look like battle damage and scars. This makes sense because this is a donut Spartan, or as much sense as this sculpture could make. And since I don't want to say Donut Spartan every time, his name will be Steven. I can spin Steven around to the back to give him some massive butt cheeks because I'm a child and I think butts are funny. Giving Steven a massive butt makes sense for 4 reasons. 1, it gives me more to sculpt. 2, it increases the video length slightly. 3, it has a chance of someone commenting something about it. And 4, it is totally quality content. With a 1-to-1 replica of a basketball hoop made, I can move on to begin making Steven's helmet, or a Corinthian helmet, which is the more accurate name. With that out of the way, I can start to make the helmet, which starts as a stretched octagon before the eye holes can be carefully cut out. Now I can give Steven his helmet and blend the edges in to make it look less like a mask and more like a helmet. To make the helmet look even better, I'll trim the sides of the clay to make it look a little less messy. To make the helmet look more menacing, I can add some oversized eyebrows to make Steven look appropriately angry. Then I can blend them in and build up a nose a little bit later in the video. Now that Steven looks like a bald wrestler, I can give him his majestic mohawk on top. And the mohawk is built with 2 layers of clay with a little armature wire to give a little bit of support. To give the mohawk a better shape, I can carve the curve into the end to try and make it look like it's supposed to. To add some volume and extra shape, I can add plenty of clay sausages on either side before then smoothing them in place and adding some notches in the top to break up all the symmetry. As for the final details of the mohawk, I can scratch about 1 billion lines into the clay to make the mohawk fluff hair stuff. With 2 scrapers, one big metal scraper and another fine scraper that is basically a paintbrush with metal bristles, making sure to get all the texture all over the entire mohawk, including the top and the bottom. With Steven's mohawk done, I can stick it onto his head with the little section of wire sticking out. To make the mohawk look more exciting and heroic, I can curve it slightly to the left and help the mohawk not break off. I can attach it to Steven's helmet. Then I can attach a band of clay around the mohawk so it looks better and helps attach the 2 pieces together smoothly. And to finish off Steven's face, I can build up the nose a bit more to make it look a little less flat. And I don't know about you, but the helmet kind of reminds me of Batman. Then I can move Steve to the side and start working on his mighty spear, which starts as a long worm of clay that can be rolled and flattened. Then I can cut the clay to size and get the shape I'm looking for. Now I can attach the blade to the another end of a worm of clay to make the long handle of the spear. To add some detail, I can wrap the clay near the blade and the handle to make some more detail and to add some extra flair. To finish this great spear, I can carve some scrapes and marks and battle damage into the handle and blade to make the spear look well used and damaged. With Steven's spear made, Steven needs something to hold his weapon, so why not just make some arms? Those said arms start as 2 cocktail sausages that get rolled and bent into shape for a better pose. Then I can make some fingers and add them to the arms. Even though the fingers are almost as long as the arms, they need to be that long so Steven can hold his big spear. I'm sorry, that was a poor choice of words. Then, to finish off the hand, I can add a thumb and blend it in place. With the hand and arm done, I can start to make Steven's shield, and like most shields, starts as a slab of clay ready to be shaped. Starting with a circle, I can layer another circle on top and add a thin strip of clay around it to make the border, as well as the weird arrow upside down V thing, which I have also learned is a Greek letter for lambda, which also stands for Lacedaemon, or otherwise known as the symbol of the Spartans, which is the upside down V. And up to this point, this was all the research and the most research that I've ever done for a single video. I ironically learned a lot about the Spartans from just finding the names of things, which I think is a little strange considering I'm making a donut Spartan, which is not real, and the Spartans are real, but I don't know, life crisis out of the way for now, and I can start working on something else. Then, to make all the layers of clay look as seamless as possible, I can blend them all together to make it look like a single piece instead of multiple pieces to make it look like high quality craftsmanship, which of course I can provide. Then I can also give the shield some battle damage and scarring, just like the spear got, so it matches the aesthetic. And then with some surface level and deeper damage. Like the left arm and hand, I can do the same thing for, well, the right arm and right hand. Except instead of holding a spear, the right hand will be holding a shield defiantly over an unseen enemy in the distance. With the hand attached to the shield, I can double check to make sure the arms fit in their spots, and then I can blend them in. And I have made a mental note in my head where the arms are supposed to go, and then I can bake them in place with a little bit of clay on the joints. Even though the connections between both arms are not as smooth as I would have originally liked, this is a donut Spartan, and last time I checked, donut Spartans aren't real, and they don't exist, so they can have messy connections because I am the captain of this sinking ship. As one of the final parts of Steven, I can build his feet, which start out as 2 roughly equal blobs of clay that can be blended into the legs. Since Steven is a Spartan, he is a warrior, obviously, so he needs some appropriately awesome shoes, which can start out as thin strips of clay with even more strips of clay on the other sides as well. And with the first part of the shoes made, I can attach them so they can be built on with the rest of the shoes by making a back to the shoes, as well as even more straps on the sides of the legs to make the shoes look correct-ish. At this point, the shoes have no sole, so I can cut even more clay to make the soles. and I can add some treads to the shoes off camera to add a meaningless touch. Now that Steven is baked, I can start the painting process by basing Steven with a nice Dijon mustard yellow. The yellow is a lot brighter than I originally intended, but it will work out later for what I am trying to achieve. And later is now, so I can paint most of Steven brown because I want Steven to be a chocolate donut and not a glazed donut. No hate against glazed donuts, it's just not what I'm trying to go for with this paint job. With that out of the way, I can paint some more brown to make it seem like the chocolate icing is falling down Steven because of gravity. Then I can paint the mohawk with several coats of this nice bright red, before also painting the rest of the helmet and shield a nice toned down gold. Which gives the helmet and shield a more neutral color instead of a bright gold, because I am going to bring the vibrancy way down with some black washes anyway. Now I can paint Steven's weapon a deep black and the blade and spear a nice gunmetal gray. To finish off all the base coats, I can paint the shoes a nice, even darker brown to add some variation between the chocolate brown. Being incredibly careful to not get any of the brown on the feet or legs, because that would be a pain to have to repaint and get it looking correct. I can start by applying a brown wash to the shield to get the battle damage to pop, and trying not to get the wash to mess up the shoes because it's very watery. Then I can paint that same wash on the helmet and dry brush the spear a nice gunmetal gray. And to finish the spear, I can give the blade a nice black wash, followed by another black wash on the mohawk, getting it in all the creases and the mohawk fluff, before dry brushing some lighter chocolate brown on the boots to give them some wear and tear and usage. Then I can do some even darker brown on the donut to give it some variation. To finish off the dry brushing, I can dry brush the bottom part of Steven in a very light brownish yellow as well. I promise it's there, you just can't see it. Now I can start making a base, trying to not cut a finger off. And with a size check to make sure the styrofoam is a good thickness, which it is, I can start to cut it to make it look like a rock, so that Steven has something to stand on in his truly powerful pose. After cutting the rock to size and making it look a little bit more smooth-ish on the top, I can hammer it with some aluminum foil to try and give it some somewhat natural rocky texture, even though it's not very noticeable for whatever reason. Then I can add the same texture for the base. After carefully and masterfully applying the texture, I can glue in the rock with super glue. But I have something to tell you guys. Unfortunately, the super glue actually melted the styrofoam on the rock, so if I stop posting videos randomly, you'll know why. With that rant out of the way, I can prime the base in white to make the brown and other colors stick better, which I can again still struggle to accomplish because the styrofoam has a lot of dips and valleys in it which soak up the brown, which made it very annoying and difficult to get all the brown in all the cracks and crevices. To finish with the brown, I can also struggle to paint the sides that same color of dirt brown to get some consistency before then painting the rock gray and struggling with the same problem as with the dirt. To give the rock and the ground some extra texture and detail, I can give them both a black wash to hopefully seep into all the empty spaces and give a little bit of extra poor man's shading. Now I can go the opposite way with the paints and apply a lighter brown all over to do the same thing as the black wash but in reverse, so giving it lighter variation instead of darker variation. And at the moment the base looks a little lifeless. There's only dirt and a rock. So I can spread and smear a bunch of Elmer's glue all over the entire base willy-nilly before then applying some grass so the glue serves a purpose. And also using the grass and spreading it around haphazardly on purpose to make it look like a trampled battle zone. Then I can stick it in place and it's time for the reveal. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe for more incredible sculptures that no one asked for. Thanks for watching. Bye.